everybody. This is your host for Cooking with Tiffany DuBois-Morales. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, which if you haven't already, please head over to my YouTube channel to see my cranberry sauce rendition. For today's video, we are doing two separate dishes. Dish one is actually something that I already kind of prepared ahead of time. Roasted Brussels sprouts with the red grapes, thinly sliced garlic, fresh thyme, and then black pepper and a couple of other spices that I'll tell you about later, all of which you can find at Iovine Brothers Produce and Whole Foods Market, and the Head Nut, all at Reading Terminal Market. Our other dish is going to be a slightly revised sweet and sour soup featuring the pork tenderloin and then a more pared down soup base with the celery, carrots, onions, bell peppers, fresh herbs, tomatoes, and everything else. So please do not forget to head over to my channel and watch all of my videos. But please sit back, relax, and we will be back. All right, everybody, we are back. So for my family's Brussels sprout dish, this is something that we have been enjoying for, and I do mean well over a decade. And this was a dish that my stepfather, Kevin, had come up with, and they found the recipe, I think, on allrecipes.com. So they would do it with, the red grapes and then the Brussels sprouts, which, few things. Ends were trimmed and then they were all cut in half. And for our dish, these bad boys get roasted all nice and quick at a reasonably high temperature. And you go ahead and put the Brussels sprouts cut side down. You want to keep everything nice and uniform and as low on the baking pan as possible. But your directions, or in this case, the instructions for this dish is as follows. Trim and cut your Brussels sprouts in half. Keep the grapes whole. Thinly slice or reasonably thinly slice your garlic pieces. Use fresh thyme. And then one thing that you can do, depending on your diet plan or anything, is to use vegetable oil or olive oil or any kind of oil that you have available. Not a lot, maybe 2-3 tablespoons max. You want to mix it all together, and then this is an important note. You need to let this rest and sit overnight so that everything is, appropriately roasted and cooked the day of. You want to set your oven at anywhere between 375 degrees and 425 degrees. I've set mine to 400 degrees, and all we're going to do is roast this for 10, maybe 12 minutes max, depending on, you know, the doneness of the Brussels sprouts, and then serve. That's it. When finished, it will be juicy, tender, and bursting with flavor. So spices that were used for my version include black peppercorn, a little red pepper flake, and a little harissa. So I hope this comes out, you know, the way it's supposed to. But that concludes the little holiday portion of this dish. The Brussels sprouts and grapes are in the oven, and at this point we're going to get started on our sweet and sour soup. So first thing we're going to do at this point is season our pork tenderloin. As a reminder, pork tenderloin doesn't carry a whole lot of fat. It's a lean cut of meat, and can be cooked in basically, yeah, like 10, 12 minutes max, depending on how hot you're able to get your skillet or Dutch oven. But in this case, we are going very non-traditional with our spice rub. Our spice rub, for all of you that are meticulously taking notes, include black peppercorn, red pepper flake, ground ginger. This unlabeled item is actually harissa. We have our fennel pollen and our dried rosemary. These black and white sesame seeds, they're going to get added later, so no need to worry about that. We are going to go ahead and rub this down with all of our excess spices that we have on our meat cutting board. It's important to season aggressively with such a lean cut. So in our Dutch oven, we have vegetable oil heating along, and all we are going to do is place our pork tenderloin in the middle. We're not really going to move it too much initially, because we want to get a good overall sear. Our timer has 3 minutes left, and this is important. We want to ensure that the pork is nice and juicy, so we're going to sear this for 2 minutes. When that starts counting down the final minute, we'll know to flip it for 2 more minutes, because you want to sear it for at least 2 minutes on each side, and then we'll bring it back to rest while we get started on the soup base, and then bring it all together low and slow for we'll say a solid 45 minutes, since we have time. So stay tuned. All right, everybody, we are back. So I have seared both sides of our pork tenderloin. We're going to put this back here for now, and we're going to get started on our soup base. So In our Dutch oven, we have our cherry hot peppers, our garlic, a little Worcestershire sauce, and now our grape tomatoes, carrots, and onions. Now, as I've mentioned before, this is not a traditional like sweet and sour soup that I've gone ahead and made dozens of times or anything like that, but I still know my flavors. So this is just me kind of throwing a couple of different things together. Now we have our base in. We need to go ahead and season everything. We're going to transfer the pork tenderloin in here whole. Bring it up to a boil and then simmer for, I'll go ahead and do it for, a solid 30 to 45 minutes. We'll go ahead and garnish with our sesame seeds and our fresh herbs. Now, the very last thing that we are going to add is our water. Bring this up to more of a soup consistency. I wish you all could smell how absolutely amazing this is right now. And at this point, we're just going to cover our lid and wait until it's brought to a boil before we set the timer for 40 to 45 minutes. So we'll see you all in a little while. All right, everybody, we are back and check it out. So we have our finished revised sweet and sour soup with a little pork tenderloin, some carrots, celery, green bell peppers, onions, and grape tomatoes. The broth is unbelievably delicious and flavorful, and the herb medley that was featured in this dish includes parsley, dill, and mint. As always, please do not forget to head over to Reading Terminal Market for all of your produce, protein, and spice blends. So that would be Iovine Brothers Produce, Gianta's Prime Shop, and the Head Nut. Garlic, Whole Foods. And just remember that stocks and broths are mostly comprised of water and flavorings and everything else. So, keep that in mind if you don't want to get the stock and everything else. The holiday Brussels sprouts dish, that won't have a finished look for a solid week, so you'll see it, photographed on Instagram and social media later. But as always, hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I will be seeing you all very soon. Stuffing. I'm your host for Cooking with Tiffany, Tiffany DuBois-Morales. Bye!